All right, well, we are here today live on Facebook talking about, really, Corey, don't you think we're talking about how to take advantage of current news cycles and getting in front of a current news cycle and riding the wave? And so we've got an example for you today, and you might guess by the glasses that I'm wearing that we're going to talk about the recent solar eclipse. So,
those are very stylish, by the way.
And by the way, you can't see anything. So if I was odder than normal, it's because I can't see anything and I was completely blind, living in the mind of a blind person for about 15 seconds, and it was very tough. But what happened is a couple weeks back, we had the solar eclipse, and I think it was on a Tuesday.
Yes.
And we reached out to an ophthalmologist practice that we have, an ophthalmology practice, a single provider practice, Dr. Patel. And we said, hey, Dr. Patel, we really think that it makes sense for you to do a live video talking about like what to expect with the solar eclipse. Saying, should you look at it? Should you not look at it? Do you need glasses? Can you look at it through the filter on your phone? Things of that nature. And Dr. Patel is fantastic. He's kind of tech savvy. He's younger. Tech savvy, gets it, Mr. GQ, and he literally is like, yeah, I got this, don't worry about it, because typically we would run over to the practice or have to coordinate with somebody in the office to film the doctor. Dr. Patel just took his iPhone, typed it in, logged into his account, put in a quick description. I don't know if he had someone hold it or put it on a tripod, but then he just literally like went and had a little cornea model and talked through it and just had some astounding results.
Yeah, he did it in one take, which is awesome.
Well, it's live, so it better be one take.
Yeah, and he had...
it is one take if it's live.
Right. So yeah, he had somebody basically just set up a tripod, press the button, and so we did that on a Friday afternoon. And by the time Tuesday rolled around, I'm going to read some numbers for you. It had reached over 140,000 people, and the top audience was women 35 to 44, so that's the decision makers in the house. In Florida, which is where he's at. So he was talking directly to his current and potential patients.
Absolutely.
And so at the end of it, we had 63,128 views, over 23,000 engagements, so that's your likes, reactions, shares, comments. And Dr. Patel is great, so he was actually monitoring the comments as they were coming in, and he was responding to them. So if he didn't cover a question in the video, someone was going to ask it in the comments, and he would pop right on within 5 minutes if he had the time, obviously.
Yeah, and I think the thing about him too is he was getting jazzed up by the comments,
absolutely.
And so he was more prone to participate in it once he saw it start taking off.
Totally. And residual benefit is 168 new page likes, which I thought this number was great. It's up 888% from the previous week.
That's awesome. And if you're buy pay, so within Facebook itself, you can actually buy, set a budget and put it towards page likes. And way back in the day, you get page likes for free or for a quarter. Now I think the average price, at least what we see from a medical standpoint, can be anywhere from $1.20 to $2. Just depends.
You're right. It depends on how big the practice is, how many you're trying to reach, and in what area. But yeah, the 50 cents to $2 is
Absolutely. And so with Facebook, there's kind of two sides to this. So the live video, he gets it up there, it gets going. Facebook loves live video. It's like their main thing right now, and it's still very free. And we think that you get a better boosting and you get more play from an organic standpoint by going live on the video. So there's always a push to do Facebook Live. And then I think
hence what we're doing right now.
There you go. And and then I think Danielle, who manages social budgets for the clients, I think she put $20 behind it. Just $23 just to after the live piece had worn off. She puts $23 towards boosting the post between Saturday and Tuesday, which resulted in more than 140,000 people reached. Just great numbers.
Yeah, and if you're wondering why the $23 number, it's because we have a set dollar amount per month that we use, and that's what was left over in his budget. So that's where the 23 actually comes in. And this video did so well that most of that budget wasn't used until the very end because it was performing so strong organically that Facebook didn't use the budget until the last, I want to say 15 hours or so of the promotion because it didn't need it.
Absolutely. And so Dr. Patel is one of those doctors that he pays attention because, like I said, he's tech savvy. We can throw suggestions to him, and it's very easy for him to do this. A couple years ago, or maybe last year, he took advantage of the kind of national holiday of Bring Your Child to Work Day. and he sat his daughter down
that was
in
a
an
good one.
exam chair and kind of quizzed her on live video terms related to ophthalmology and optometry, and she was like a whiz kid at like 7 years old,
Yeah.
and that got a ton of play.
It was very cute.
And Corey, we use Facebook Live. We use Facebook Live a lot. We were kind of early adopters, at least with our medical clients. You use it for orthopedic groups all the time, don't you?
Yes, I actually just filmed a video 3 weeks ago with an orthopedic client. He was getting ready to perform a live surgery that was going to be broadcasted as part of a workers' comp conference. And I went in separately from the live video crew, which they pay an astronomical amount to have them there. I just took my phone in there and a tripod into the OR and was actually able to broadcast that on Facebook as well. So we already had the patient sign the release forms, and everything was okayed through the surgery center. I went in there and just kind of sat in the back and put up the video.
But he reached like an additional 30,000 people in the trade area just by adding a social element to something he was already doing.
Yeah, and it was great too because I was able to monitor the comments, and at one point someone said, "Oh, it'd be great if we could see a little bit closer." So I just picked it up, moved it closer,
That's great.
and then they said thanks, and so we had like a nice little unspoken interaction there. But and we saw residuals on that for at least a week.
Didn't you, with the same orthopedic group, didn't you do some stuff during the Olympics, and like didn't you do some things during like football season this last year?
Yeah, so those were not live videos, but another great usage of video on Facebook. We actually were able to, if a player got injured, then we went live with we recorded a video with a sports medicine doc explaining what the injury was and how soon that player could return to play safely and what you could expect. And because we were timely, those videos did really, really well.
I think that one video that we did about the Olympics might have been live because I'm recalling which doctor that was. And so there was an Olympic athlete who broke his femur on a dismount.
Yeah.
And we got one of the leading sports medicine docs who is comfortable with live video to go live and talk about this injury and then tie it back to something that they're focused on from a marketing standpoint, which is overuse injuries in athletes that are young. And so he tied it back to the fact that, this athlete probably, developed some stress fracture when he was younger, kept training. It was, related to the Olympics, and he had to push his way through it. And then on a to a worldwide audience, he breaks his leg in front of everybody.
Yeah.
We had the sleep apnea one that came up a couple years ago.
Yeah. I mean, we've done a ton of these.
Yeah.
We've done sleep apnea. We've done fertility. I don't remember what actress it was, but she got pregnant, so we went live with the fertility doctor that we have. What else have we done?
We didn't have a doctor when they made the announcement for John McCain's cancer that he has. We didn't have a physician in that particular area that could address it, but that's one of those news cycles that we would have probably gotten on board and said, let's get a doctor in front of a camera to talk about it. We did, for our own purposes, I think we did a podcast episode and a blog post when a couple years ago when that website, Ashley Madison, came out, when it got hacked, and we talked about, use that as an opportunity to talk about reputation management and what you need to do in a crisis, and that episode of the podcast did really well. So I think the point being is that, media and public relations are completely different than they were just a couple of years ago. And now, because you have audiences that are captive audiences that are actually your patients within social networks like Facebook, and I think I heard that Facebook's about to hit the 2 billion user mark, and because you have this captive audience and you have your friends and your fans, that now social media provides you the tools that you can reach them, and you just have to use your noggin a little and pay attention to the news cycle, and when there's an opportunity to promote your practice, you got to be willing to jump on your phone and record it live and get it on there and not be afraid that you're going to mess up or something like that. Not a big investment on these types of things. Dr. Patel did it with an iPhone, and I think the one I was researching earlier today, that the one we did on sleep apnea took a total of 4 minutes for the doctor. Came in, got the video, 4 minutes later, he was back seeing patients, and they got thousands of views as a result of that. So it's just a matter of looking at public relations and marketing a little bit different and realizing that you're in control of your media exposure in a way that you've never been in control before.
Yeah, you can take control of your own message. I mean, even if you just look at your local news or sports center, the way that they report now is like based off of Twitter. They'll have reactions and hashtags, and so knowing that you can help control that message for your practice is key. And I want to add to one of the challenges that you were talking about is the doctor has to be comfortable doing it live.
Yes.
Because we've tried to do live video a couple of times, and the physician is just not ready to do that. And then so in that case, we'll still do a video, but we know that it's going to wind up taking a little bit more time because we're going to have to come back, edit it, and then post it later. And as we alluded to earlier, Facebook doesn't give as big of an organic boost if it's not live, but you still get the benefits.
It's still worth it, because here's the thing too. You do a live video, which is how we do it for this podcast. You do a live video, let it play out live, put a few dollars behind it to boost it. So when the live kind of dies down, you got some boosting behind it. But then that video is there. You pull it down. For our purposes, we turn it into audio. But for our clients, they don't do a podcast necessarily, but we take those videos down. We might edit out a few things after the fact for it. Then we pop it back up into YouTube, and it becomes part of their cycle, and it becomes part of the content programming that we have as an ongoing. So, there's a great residual benefit to doing a live video, but if you don't do live, do the next best thing, which is recorded. And then you've got a piece of content that your marketing team can then go out and run with, and it'll give you dividends, for years to come from an SEO standpoint.
Definitely, and not only does it put you in front of potential patients, but it's also a differentiator for your practice.
Totally.
Because odds are, if you're doing this, then no one around you is, because it's still so new. And honestly, I think it's safe to say that the first time that you do it, it feels a little silly and maybe a little uncomfortable, but if you can sell the doctors on it, then they can see the residual benefit. I mean, we didn't have to sell Dr. Patel on it for this particular video, but he knew that it was powerful, and then now we have the numbers to back it up. So in the future, anytime that we want to go to him and say, hey, trust us, this is going to do well.
He knows that we know how valuable his time is, and we're not going to bring him fluff. And that video eclipsed all other videos for a total of $23 and less than a 10-minute investment in his time. And I think the numbers speak for themselves.
Absolutely, yeah. Definitely worth it. Again, just to drive home some of the things to be aware of. Challenges could be if the doctor or physician or whoever's going to go on camera, if they're not comfortable doing it live, you're going to have to edit it. So that's a potential challenge. And then on top of that, if you have to go to a specific office, if you have a practice with several different locations, maybe someone that's at that location you can't film the video, then you've got to kind of rearrange your day to get out there. I think time can be a challenge if that's the case, because
time's always a challenge.
Sure, and knowing that the video is only going to be 5 minutes, you've got the drive time, you've got the setup, you've got to prep the doctor, so it winds up taking an hour and a half out of your day, and we all know that you guys wear a lot of hats, so that can be a challenge. But ultimately, when you're done, you'll have something like Jen was talking about, where not only does it perform well on Facebook, but then you can put it on the website, and you can have a residual piece of content that will help your practice for years to come.
Yeah, and those are the biggest takeaways, because it doesn't cost a lot of money, doesn't take that much time at all, but it really is a differentiator for your practice, and it will set you apart from anybody else in town that offers the exact same services you do. So what makes you unique? You're an educator, and you put the patient first, and you're really using a platform to reach them directly where they want to be reached.
And you're doing it in a timely manner, which is
exactly
controlling your own message.
Awesome. So with that, I'm Jennifer.
I'm Corey.
And we'll see you next time here at the Dr. Marketing Tips Podcast.